I'm here at the Team Green Kawasaki stand, and FS3 have just signed their 2 riders. We'll start with Lee Jackson. Lee, back to Stock 1000 next year. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, going back to Superstock is going to be a good jump for me. I think we're looking at the championship for next year is going to be very strong again, and I feel like we can do a good job for the team, and I feel like the championships could be on the cards if you have a good season.
What are your plans? How are you going to go about getting to the top of the championship? Lots of testing, I presume?
Yeah, we're looking to have a good testing program with the team, and also looking at getting a practice bike for myself. Moving to Kawasaki, I need to get on the bike as soon as I can and learn the brand, and get a good base setting for myself and get used to what we need to do back in England.
Were you surprised that you found yourself without a superbike ride for 2018?
A little bit, but obviously the championship's so tough these days. Every weekend counts now in superbike, and my season's been a bit up and down, unfortunately. So to be told you didn't have a ride, I could maybe see it coming, but at the end of the day, I went into a new team, new bike, new suspension, and they only gave me 1 year, so that was a bit disappointing, really. But obviously onwards and upwards now, joining Kawasaki and looking forward to it.
FS3 obviously have a superbike team. Is there progression? Is there room for progression to move up if you do have a successful season in 2018?
Obviously, nothing's really been spoke about at the moment. Obviously, 1 year at a time, and it'd be nice to go on a superbike and be on a Kawasaki. Something new again. So we'll have to see what 2018 does for us and see where we end up in 2019.
And what would make a brilliant year for Lee Jackson next year? Obviously the championship as well, but what's that going to be? Consistency is key, obviously.
Yeah, obviously consistency is key. Obviously this year Danny and Richard pretty much finished near enough every race, I think bar a couple, and they had a very strong season. So I think with like I say, the championship's that strong, you've got to be inside the top 3 every weekend, and a weekend where you don't feel like you can push, just take the points and move on to the next weekend.
Lee, all the best, and thank you very much for your time. I'm going to move over now to Danny Buchan, who has also signed for the FS3 Superbike team. Danny, back on a superbike.
Yes, yeah, excited, yeah. That was the goal, dropping back in 2017, was to get myself a good superbike ride for this year, and as Lee said, it's extremely tough, so after I rode the bike at Assen, it was a bit of a no-brainer for me, really. Once we started talking about this year, it was quite exciting for me. So yeah, back on a superbike and see what we can do.
Is there more pressure on you this year coming in as Stock 1000 champion than what there was in 2015?
I don't really feel the pressure, to be honest, and it's such a hard class anyway that no one can put as much pressure on me as I do myself. So all the time I spend in the gym and everything I do is to win races. So I put the most pressure on myself. Obviously I don't know what their expectations are as a team, but for me, I want to be inside the top 10 regularly. So obviously that's going to be the goal, is just to keep consistent, stay on the bike. In 2015 I was fast, but I crashed a lot. So if I can get that same speed faster now, obviously because the times are faster, but stay on, that's going to be the goal for me. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm a lot more mature as a rider now. I'm a lot more mature as a person, so it makes for a recipe for a good year.
In your 2017 Stock 1000 campaign, have you learnt anything that you're bringing into superbikes for 2018 that you didn't have before?
There's not much really. Every time you get on the bike, you're learning. So racecraft, setting up a bike, all that sort of stuff. And the way the stock class was this year, the new format made it a lot better for us in terms of the longer races were good, because now when I get back on the bike next year, my bike fitness is still going to be good. So it's and obviously you can do a lot more with the kit ECU that we had in the stock bike. So I think that it's going to help for sure, but I don't know how much. I rode a superbike in Ireland at Sunflower and against Irwin and Lavity and stuff, and we weren't too far away really, considering it was a brand new bike out of the crate that weekend. So yeah, I mean, it looks good. It's going to be hard, but obviously for me it's going to be about banging in the top 10 week in, week out, and seeing where we are at the end of year 1. Hopefully that warrants enough to do another year, hopefully with the same team, but you never know. Obviously it's motorbike racing, and then we can sort of go top 6 to wins the next year. But there's nothing to say that I couldn't win races next year. The bike is good enough. We showed a lot of potential at Assen. Obviously it wasn't a very good job interview because I jumped off it twice, but yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
How important was it that you stayed with Kawasaki as a brand? Because obviously you've got great connections with Kawasaki, great success with Kawasaki, and back on a Kawasaki in superbikes.
Yeah, that was a big part of the move this year, was the fact that it was Kawasaki, and then also Matt Llewellyn, crew chief, who I rode with in 2015, my first 2 podiums in BSP. So that is exciting for me. That was enough. And then when you bring Darren and Nigel into who own the team, amazing guys, amazing team atmosphere. So they're really family orientated. I think Lee's going to do a very good job. I think Lee's going to do a very good job in the stock class. So I think it's going to be a good year. Obviously, this time every year, everyone says they're going to go and win it next year and all the rest of it. So I'm not disillusioned by it. I know what to expect. I know what it takes to do well in Superbike. So I've done it. I've been there. I've done the off season. I've done the coming in. I crashed loads. So now my approach is a little bit different to it. So I'm looking forward to it, and I couldn't ask for a better team.
Finally, you said you wanted to get in the top 10 in the championship. Will that constitute podiums, maybe a race win towards the end of the season? Is that going to be the vision as we move on throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. The goal next year is to be on the podium as much as I can. I mean, you don't know. You can turn up to your best track and you can do everything right, and then you have a failure in the race, whatever. But for me, it's going to be about turning up every race weekend, working through everything we can possibly do, so that come the race, I'm ready to race. And if that's good enough for a 10th, brilliant. If it's good enough for a 15th, okay, that's fine. If it's good enough for a podium or a win, then we'll be there. But my approach is a lot different this year. Let's just say that. So,
Danny, well done. Thanks for your time. Lee, wherever he's gone, thanks for your time. All the best for 2018.
thank you. Cheers, mate.